I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
After years of unprecedented legal battles, media controversies, and even a shocking assassination attempt, Donald Trump has just pulled off one of the most historic comebacks in American political history against all odds, and in an election watched by the entire world, he is back as the President of the United States. For many, this election was about much more than just the candidates themselves. It was a referendum on a divided America, where issues around the economy, foreign policy, and even the nation's identity are more polarized than ever. Trump's victory has sent shockwaves around the world, sparking celebrations among his supporters, while others brace themselves for what his next term could mean.
We're going to be paying down debt. We're going to be reducing taxes. We can do things that nobody else can do. Nobody else is going to be able to do it. China doesn't have what we have. Nobody has what we have. But we have the greatest people also. Maybe that's the most important thing.
Trump's win marks a major shift for the US economy. His supporters see his return as a beacon for economic growth and revitalization, especially after a challenging period of inflation and a slow recovery. Back in his first term, the US economy saw historic lows in unemployment, and many are hopeful that he'll bring that back. We've already seen immediate reaction from the stock market, which surged following his victory, an indicator of the renewed optimism investors feel about his pro-business, deregulation-focused policies. But it's not all roses. Trump's approach tends to favor big businesses, and his critics worry that his economic policies may not address the income inequality or the needs of the working class. That being said, Trump's win promises to bring more jobs, potentially lower taxes, and a resurgence in American manufacturing and energy industries. Whether or not these changes will actually benefit all Americans is something we'll just have to wait and see. Supporters believe Trump's business-first approach could jumpstart economic growth and improve the country's global trade position, a critical element as the US navigates economic tensions with China and the ongoing supply chain issues.
This is going to bring us together, and we are going to start by all putting America first. We have to put our country first for at least a period of time. We have to fix it.
Trump's comeback also signals a return to his America First policy, which prioritizes American interests over international alliances and treaties. Under his leadership, we may see the US step back from commitments that don't directly benefit the country, particularly when it comes to organizations like NATO or agreements like the Paris Climate Accords. This shift could have a major impact on America's allies and global relationships. For instance, Trump's focus on reducing overseas spending and relying less on foreign allies could lead to strained relationships with NATO partners and renewed conflict with trade partners. While some Americans welcome this approach, others fear it could isolate the US on a global stage. And what does this mean for America's role as a global leader? Trump's approach may alter the US's place in the world, reshaping alliances and potentially challenging the existing global power structure. Allies may feel uncertain about their ability to rely on US support, while adversaries like Russia and China may test America's resolve under a president who believes in selective engagement rather than open commitment.
But if I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that.
Perhaps the most concerning consequence of Trump's return is the impact it could have on tensions with Iran. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has long been one of Trump's closest allies on the world stage. Netanyahu wasted no time celebrating Trump's win, tweeting a congratulatory message to both Donald and Melania Trump that reads, "Congratulations on history's greatest comeback. Your historic return to the White House offers a new beginning for America and a powerful recommitment to the great alliance between Israel and America. This is a huge victory in true friendship. Yours, Benjamin and Sarah Netanyahu. The message couldn't be clearer. Israel sees Trump's return as an opportunity to strengthen its alliance with the United States, particularly in confronting shared threats in the region. For Netanyahu and his administration, Trump's victory is more than just a political win. It's the dawn of a renewed partnership that will support Israeli interests and provide backing on key security concerns, especially Iran. Under Trump's first term, US-Israeli relations reached new heights, particularly through the moves of the US withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal and the relocation of the US embassy to Jerusalem. For Israel, these actions were landmark moments that symbolized America's commitment to Israel's security and sovereignty. With Trump back in office, there's anticipation that these policies will not only continue but intensify. The Israeli government sees Trump as a reliable partner in containing Iranian influence, and Netanyahu's tweet reflects the strategic value Israel places on his return. Following his election victory, Iran's currency took a nosedive, dropping sharply in response to the fear of renewed sanctions and diplomatic isolation. Under his previous administration, sanctions severely impacted Iran's economy, driving inflation to record highs and destabilizing the nation from within. If Trump follows a similar playbook this time, it could spell even more trouble for Iran's already weakened economy. Iran's leadership has made no secret of their hostility towards Trump's policies, and with renewed sanctions, they could find themselves on the edge of economic collapse or further internal unrest. The Iranian government may respond with threats or demonstrations of military power, heightening the risk of a volatile standoff. Trump's stance on Iran has always been rooted in his view that they're a destabilizing force in the Middle East, and his maximum pressure approach could push them into even more aggressive actions. Israel, too, has its own interest in containing Iran, which it sees as a direct threat to its security. In recent years, Israel has actively conducted operations to disrupt Iranian military presence in Syria and prevent weapon transfers to Hezbollah in Lebanon. With Trump's support, Israel may feel empowered to take a more decisive action against Iranian positions in the region, and Netanyahu's public support for Trump signals that Israel expects the US to back these moves, potentially even militarily if things escalate. For now, Netanyahu's enthusiastic endorsement of Trump signals that Israel expects unwavering support from the US. But this level of commitment could lead America into risky territory. A conflict in the Middle East isn't just a regional issue, it has global ramifications. If Trump and Netanyahu push too hard, we could see a chain reaction that brings in players like Russia, Turkey, and other powerful allies or adversaries, each with their own stake in the outcome. One of Trump's key talking points, both in his previous presidency and in this campaign, has been his stance on military restraint, the idea that he won't start any new wars. He's made this promise a cornerstone of his foreign policy, claiming that his leadership will bring about a strong America with a need for endless conflicts abroad. In fact, during his first term, Trump often highlighted that he was the first president in decades not to launch a military intervention.
But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom.
In short, Trump's no new wars promise is a powerful message, but it's a difficult one to keep. The geopolitical landscape he faces now is more volatile than ever before, and maintaining peace while supporting Israel and deterring Iran is a balancing act. The pressure to react to provocations, uphold alliances, and show strength might mean that Trump's foreign policy goals and his promise of no new wars are heading towards a challenging test in the Middle East. Trump's foreign policy shakeup extends beyond the Middle East. His tough stance on China, skepticism of NATO, and desire to re-evaluate trade deals will all come back into play. Leaders around the world are adjusting to a familiar yet unpredictable US president who could drastically alter long-standing international agreements. In Europe, NATO allies are already preparing for a more strained relationship with the US, and many wonder if Trump might seek to reduce America's role in the alliance. In Asia, there's anxiety over his approach to trade with China and military support for Taiwan. A bolder Trump could mean aggressive tactics, while a more cautious approach might see the US trying to balance diplomacy with firm policies. Trump's first term saw no major wars and a degree of diplomacy with countries like North Korea. But the global stage is different now, and his administration may face mounting pressures from emerging global powers and regional conflicts. Whether Trump can manage these complexities without escalating tensions into a full-blown conflict is a major question for the coming years.
I can't do this anymore. I'm literally sick. I'm literally sick to my stomach. What has happened to America? What has happened to democracy? What has happened to freedom? I'm done. I'm No! 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 Why? Why? Do you really hate me that bad? The fact that it's this close means I've lost all hope in the American people. Like, it should not be this close. Why would anyone vote for this person? He's so evil.
Trump's return to the White House has sparked intense reactions across the US. His supporters see this as a triumphant comeback, a chance to drain the swamp and enact the changes they've been hoping for since his first term. Meanwhile, his opponents are filled with dread, concerned that his policies could divide the country even further. Social media has erupted with passionate debates and arguments breaking out among people from all walks of life. Many are worried that Trump's divisive rhetoric could lead to social unrest or even violence. His ability to rally his base remains unmatched, but that also alienates a large portion of the country who see his return as a step backward. The election has left the country more polarized than ever before, with both sides digging in and unwilling to compromise. How Trump handles this divide, whether he seeks to unite or double down on his base, will be crucial in determining the next years of American politics. The Democratic Party now faces one of its biggest challenges in recent history. They've not only lost the White House to a candidate they thought was politically finished, but they've also lost a significant portion of their base, many of whom feel disillusioned by their recent leadership. The party is at a crossroads, and they'll need to decide how to move forward if they want to regain public support. Some Democrats argue that the party needs to adopt a more progressive platform to appeal to younger voters and minorities. Others believe a more centrist approach is the only way to compete with Trump's populist appeal. But one thing is clear: the Democrats need a new direction and possibly new leaders if they hope to challenge Trump and the Republican Party in the coming years. Whether the Democrats can unify and rebuild their support, or if they'll remain divided, could define American politics for the next generation. Donald Trump's return to power is more than just a political comeback. It's a turning point for America, one that will shape the country's future, its role on the world stage, and the lives of everyday Americans. From the economy to foreign policy, and from domestic division to the future of the Democratic Party, the consequences of this election will be felt for years to come. Now, what do you think? Will the Democrats make a comeback, or will we see the Republicans winning all the elections going forward? Let me know in the comments. Also, make sure to watch my last video, which is on the screen currently, where I break down why the Democrats struggle to get things done. And also guys, make sure to press that subscribe button. It is much appreciated, helps me out a lot. But as always, the real power lies with the American people. How they respond, engage and push their leaders for a change will ultimately determine the course of the nation.